Welcome to Decide to Move podcast, where top experts share tips and strategies to grow you from where you currently are to where you are destined to be personally and professionally. Now here's your host, author, speaker, business strategist, CEO, and founder of Decide to Move, Monica M. Bijou.
So I am super excited and happy to have Joanne Irwin. Hi, Joanne. How are you doing?
Hello. How are you? All the way from Australia.
Yes, I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
So what part of Australia do you live in?
I'm in New South Wales, Australia, on the far north coast, close to Brisbane, sorry, close to Queensland, so further north. So it's a beautiful region. They call it Northern Rivers. And it's the mountains, the rivers, and the beaches. I feel very blessed to be able to live in such a gorgeous region.
It sounds beautiful. I had the privilege of being in Australia, but I was in Melbourne at the Australian Open. So I was super excited just to be there. So my goal is one day to get to Queensland and go to some of the other places. So that sounds absolutely gorgeous.
Definitely a must to do.
Yes. So thank you so much for being with us today. So do you mind sharing with our listeners, as well as those who are viewing us via video, who you are, more details of who you are, and a little bit of some more about your teachers and what do you do?
Certainly. Well, my journey itself spans over I was thinking about this morning, it's more than 30 years. I started my journey at 17, so about 38 years ago. Wow. And it was when I left home and I wanted to explore a lot about nutrition and health and, growing up in a 3-veg and 1 meat and 3-veg family, I decided that it was time for me to really find who I was. And that came through exploring different ways of eating. And from there, I, just through certain adversities, breakup of marriages and having the 4 children on my own, it sort of forced me into finding myself and going on this journey of healing and knowing and evolving and knowing myself. So I have now, after 30 years, I've been working in the health and nutrition industry. Primarily, I was helping people to take control of their weight. And after about 20 years of that, I was like, wow, it was fascinating for me to see people actually, yes, losing the weight, but there was no long-term difference. They would actually go and put the weight back on. So I then went and studied more about the mind, and I found some amazing teachers around the world, worked a lot with Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn, who was his teacher, and some incredible speakers and people that, influenced the mind, the way the mind works, but also went and studied NLP and hypnosis. So I just went on this journey of finding, what made people tick, how it all works, and why don't people have that long-term change? So, fast forward to today, I've been working, now with people, for the last 11 years in the mind realm, as well as, healing. Had lots of experience in the spiritual world as well, went to lots of meditation schools and retreats. And yeah, so it's been a long journey, and along the way I've gained all these tools, I guess, and gifts that I now offer to the world to help. And my mission is to empower as many women as I can around the world, to live their highest truth, their highest power, their highest potential, to be their authentic self and discover who they really are. And that's what I find I'm really passionate about, and I can give to. Primarily, I work with women. It hasn't always been that way, but it's just it's something I feel very passionate about, and helping them to empower them. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell, basically.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, good stuff. And it's we both share the passion of helping people, really starting with the mindset, because I've found no matter how successful a person is, the ability for them to maintain that is very limited based on where they are mentally and where their mindset is. And I always start with every last one of my clients, really starting with the mindset. From the mindset, I can help them with so many other things, like you said. And I use a variety of modalities such as hypnotherapy, NLP, as well as I'm actually a licensed therapist, along with being a business strategist and coach. So it allows me to bring different variations, because there's no such thing as a one-trick pony. There's no
No,
such thing as a cookie cutter style. And it's really about finding what works for that client. So having those different modalities, I find that it's amazing and it really helps a lot.
absolutely. It's so important because everybody, they tick differently and they've been through different, things over their lives, and they've come from a different, background, or they've had things happen that, they need to be held, they need to be nurtured, they need to be, sort of, I guess, massaged to get them to where they want to go. So I love that you do what with, so yeah, like-minded, and the work that we do is so important in the world. Fascinating that we found each other.
Yeah. And that's, it's, for me, it's like, I feel like I'm always kind of drawn to people that where I'm like-minded, like-hearted, and it's like we actually just resonate. And so for me, it was absolutely amazing. I shared with you before that I, put a call out saying that I was starting my podcast, and this is the type of, podcast that I had. And I had over 250 people that
Wow.
reached out to me, and I really had to comb through who was one, like-minded, like-hearted, who had the same message that was as me, and that really was about helping my clients get to where they need to be. And what's great is not just mine, but it's our clients, because we have pretty much similar audiences as well. So, I mean, my clients are not all of them about losing weight, but it's about them making a pivotal shift. Some type of adversity happened in their life, right? It could be gaining weight, could have a child, lost someone in their life, but it still all comes back down to when you are ready to embark on that journey of purpose, it's getting that mindset, starting from there, starting from the beginning.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah. So, mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I was going to say, I love your title and what you're speaking about today, because you're talking about success mindset and getting into the flow. And before we actually go into details about that, you mentioned about switching over to NLP and different things like that. What difference did you see it make for your clients that were losing weight before compared to now?
Okay, so I'm primarily not just working with weight loss now. I work with a broad, like you, a broad area of issues that people come to me with. But for myself, it was most powerful for myself when I did the NLP training and the hypnosis training. I had massive, massive breakthroughs. I hadn't been in a relationship for, it must have been 25 years since the father of my children, since we separated. And I had all these issues around, being loved, being accepted for who I am, but also trust, and for me, it was amazing. Within a few months, I had this epiphany one day that I was going to put myself out there. And lo and behold, I've been with the love of my life now for 11 and a half years. So it was just after I'd finished my training too. And yeah, so that in itself was, for me, a miracle, because I never thought, I vowed I would never, ever be in another relationship. After having 2 failed marriages and 4 children later, you're just like, you're left a bit damaged. So for me, most powerful is the transformation in myself and the things that happened for me, and just the way I was showing up in the world. More compassion, more connection, more love, and all of that. It was a different person. I think I cleared so much, and I'd done so much work already up till that point. I'd spent months in ashrams and meditation spaces, and I had some great shifts, and I really felt that was necessary to get me to that point. But that big block about being loved and being supported and being honoured as a woman, and being able to trust again was huge. And then it's just been progressive. From there, it's just been progressive in the changes that I've done through doing other things. You know, I'm an absorber of learning and wanting to learn so much about everything that's out there on offer. A bit of tapping here and a bit of kinesiology and you know, I use all of these tools that I've learned to work with my clients and have the breakthroughs for them too. So yeah, I do get like, there's so many clients that I get some beautiful feedback from, and you know, one came to me with deep sadness over the loss of her parent, and to her that was, she would never get over it, and that was one of my early clients, and to this day she still acknowledges how much she uses the tool that I taught her and how it's helped her to and overcome that sadness, because we're connecting with a higher place, right, where you can be, or you can actually see why things happen from a different perspective. And for her, it unlocked something in her that loved one would never leave. It was with her forever. It's just that the sadness is alleviated for her. I mean, there was just like, yeah, I just love hearing those testimonials from clients that, you know, years later still come back and say, thank you for changing my life. You know, I mean, those things can really hold you back in living. And this lady's gone on to do incredible things in the world. So it could be that one little thing, that little shift that makes a huge difference in the way their life turns out down the track. So yeah, that's one example, but I could probably, consider it some more.
Yeah. And it's so true. I think, you know, some people go into what they do for money, but I know for me, and it sounds like for you as well, and actually the people that I will be having on the podcast, is about really making a difference and really bringing value and helping clients make that pivotal shift. And some of them are sitting there that are listening, that is like, I'm struggling. There's something that I just can't get right. And my goal and my hope and desire is that they hear something that allows them to actually make that one, like that little adjustment, like you were saying, or whatever they need, and actually to reach there, to get to that place. And so that's huge and beautiful. I really love hearing that.
Yeah. And I also, I believe that when you're in a place of connection with yourself and you're in a happy place, when you alleviate these, you know, emotions and things that hold you back, then when you're in that place, everything flows. Like weight doesn't become an issue anymore. It's almost like you lift the weight because you're living in a happy space, in a happy place. You know, you are, it's not something that occupies your mind as much anymore. It's like, wow, I'm living from a whole different perspective in life. I'm seeing the world from from new eyes. And then the weight will shift as a result of that. So that's why I really don't focus on weight anymore as much. Although my business name is Weight Free Mind, it's more about, you know, living from a place where these things, they're not an issue. You're not living them anymore. They're not in your head anymore. And you will just, you know, naturally just melt back to where you want to be from that place. So you don't really have to try to do all the diets and do all the exercise routines to try and get you, because when you're occupying your mind with that all the time, it's keeping you there. Yeah, you would relate to that. Yeah. So yeah, so we don't go, I don't go looking for people who want to lose weight so much. It's actually a byproduct of them finding themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to throw that one in.
Yeah, no, that's true, because actually weight is basically the outer right? The outer appearance, it's the outer, I would say, example of so many other things that's happening inside. You know, there's times where people have hypothyroidism or thyroid problems or different things that causes them to, or hormones are off balance. But a lot of times when you look back and even deeper, like you say, weight-free mind, to me, what I think about is being so heavy within your mind that it causes you so many issues, whether it's weight gain, feeling sick physically, emotionally, beat down. So it's pretty much starts with the mind
Yes,
as well.
absolutely. And one of my early works, my very, very first early works, was when I found Louise L. Hay, and how she connected the emotions with the disease and all the ailments in the body. And it's so true. Like, most of our health issues are a direct response to our emotional state and how we're, and I mean, we could just talk about so much there, and how stress, in the body is trapped. And that's why the things that I wanted to share today was more about connecting with you on a daily basis more than you do in your business. For success mindset, it's really about connecting with yourself, working more on yourself than you do on your business. Because when you're coming from that place of, stillness and peace, you can actually be more effective. So you're growing and learning and putting more energy and time into you and the things that you need, so that you can get into that flow to where you want to go. Oh, I like that. That flow to where you want to go. That's self-awareness and self-regulation, all of that stuff, and having and putting you first to be able to do that.
Yeah. So how would you tell a person to have that success mindset? What's the first step that they need to take in order to, like, a person's listening, they're like, I have no idea, what does that mean? What's the first step that you would recommend that they take in order to begin having a successful mindset, or a mindset around success?
Sure. So my motto in life is always start the way you want it to finish. Okay. So have that end result in mind, and then sort of work backwards. So where do you want to be? And creating habits or creating rituals to get you there. So for me, I always start with nutrition. Start getting the body clean, starting good habits around nutrition, because if you're feeding your body optimum health, optimum nutrition, you're actually feeding your mind. So you're going to feel better. You're going to have more energy. You're going to want to do more if you're, nourished. So, and over the program I teach, we look at all the areas, but that for me is number one, because that's what worked for me initially, was cleaning up my diet, cleaning up my nutrition, nourishing my body. And that in turn helped me to want to do all the other things that I believe, to create good habits and rituals that I believe will, long-term give you those results. And, things like mindfulness techniques, simple things to start with. Like, it's quite daunting when people have never experienced any sort of methods or change or therapies or anything or meditation, anything like that. And I think it's important to start really simply and then build on that. So start with your diet, and then start with mindful techniques, and just simple ones, like even just being mindful when you're walking, when you're being present in the moment as much as possible, and just start over a period of few weeks, start with that, and then move into meditation, visualization, journaling's a fabulous one. Journaling, when you're getting stuck in things, just write it out. Just, if you're not a person to be able to sit, because I'm, honestly, I'm a doer. I just want to be doing all the time. I want to be doing la 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 la. And the more that people want to be doing, I think that the more they need to be being. you know, and the more it had taken me a long time to just, you know, practice these things and realize the results. When you feel the results, then it's more inspiring to want to do those things. So sitting in the meditation start with a couple of minutes and build on that. And I like to teach morning routines, like even if it's for 5 minutes, just do something really simply for 5 minutes for yourself before you start the day. And that could be just waking and in the first 17 seconds, start being grateful, because that's when the mind starts to get really active, you know. So start being grateful. What am I grateful for today? You know, that is massive. Put you in a really good space for the day. And then I tag on a little bit of visualization. How do I want my day to turn out? How do I want to feel? What do I want to do? What do I want to be? How do I want to show up today? And just really feel it, you know, feel everything about how your day is going to, and that can take like 5 minutes. Like really simply start with those things and then build on that. I'm a big believer in movement, especially to get stress out of the body, because like this stress is all around us all the time, you know, environmental, physical, and emotional stress is the biggest, you know. The mind just like, what is it, 70,000 thoughts a day, you know, crazy, right? And they're mostly the same thoughts. So these little techniques will start to bring you into, you know, really connecting back to you. And during the day, things like just stopping and remembering to breathe. How often do we forget to breathe? But people walk around holding their breath, you know, breathe. Stop at lunchtime. So good, right? So good. It's so good. And also, and taking that break at lunchtime, you know, go for your little things that they can actually implement through their day that are not going to take any extra time, and it's going to, you know, make a huge difference. And then building on that, I think is really powerful. So yeah, they're just simple things that I think people could start being aware of. Awareness is key. Awareness. So you have to really work out, well, where do I need to put my attention right now? What part of my body or what part of my physical world? Because we're always moving forward. Like it's this movement always forward. We never sit back, you know, and sit in our bodies and really come from, you know, start moving from your back, like sitting back and you know, it's a whole different energy when you do these small little things. And I'm doing a lot of work. The last year I've been doing a lot of work with feminine and powerful techniques, and, you know, just sitting in the body and grounding yourself. You know, when you get out of bed, just feet on the ground and really grounding yourself and feeling your legs, because we're always moving. So just simple little techniques. So I could go on forever. Sorry, I'll let you talk now.
No, this is great. I mean, honestly, this is about you helping the clients. So it's not about me talking.
Okay.
I think it's great. And a lot of the things that you talk about is exactly things that I do myself. I love doing visualization. I love waking up and setting intentions and being like very clear what I will do and visualize myself doing them. And then what's so great is that, and then I also use a planner, and I celebrate what I get done and celebrate the things that I didn't get to, but I set a clear intention. And so when you do that, it really sets you up to have a successful day no matter what. And I often share that with my clients. It's like, well, I write a plan out and I get disrupted or I get this. And it's like, well, if just set your intention. If your intention is to get one thing done, then celebrate that one thing. So what if you have 4 other things on your list? It may also mean that these are some things that I have to delegate to my VA or someone else in order to help with that. So everything that you said, I actually resonate with, and I greatly appreciate that.
Thank you. I saw you nodding, so yeah.
Yeah, and so many people don't have a morning routine, and that will start you off like really, like you said, having a success mindset. Success can come in so many different ways. It's not just about money, right?
No.
Success is not about it's whatever you intend to do that day. The fact that you finish it, celebrate that and be like, yes, I got it done and I was successful. The more you do it, constantly, especially for those that struggle with confidence, the more it increases their confidence when they do something like that every single day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so, I think that's the one key element, is starting your day the way you want it to finish, and just, you know, spending that time and making that time, making it a priority to make it that time. Because I know there's so many, I see, and I work with a lot of young mums who struggle. Okay, it's hard to find the time. However, if it's not in the morning, just do it like when the baby's having a sleep. Like, I know you've got to work, but stop and just give that time to yourself, because you'll be more effective when you do. Yeah, you'll be in a better space and be more effective when you do make that time for that routine, whether it's in the middle of the day or the evening. It's still taking that time for you. And there was somewhere else I was going to go there, but it just left me. It'll come back though.
Yeah. And you said that, you know, as like when you were transitioning, going through the things that you went through, like with your husband, and you pretty much went through a pivotal shift. What did you have to do in order to get there, to get up and say, I'm going to change my circumstances or change the way that I think?
Oh, okay. The pivotal thing would have been, well, actually, it's what I said. When I found Louise Hay, and I read her book and I started to practice her work, it got me out of that. I was in a really dark place at the time. You know, I was 6 months pregnant with my fourth child when my husband left, and I was like left in shock, I guess. And I went into a bit of a deep place, and I knew I couldn't stay there, because I had these human beings that I had to be there for. And so when I found her work, it really, really resonated with me, and I started to just work around building myself up and being there and focusing more on the children than I was, you know, on myself at the time. But it helped having that was the catalyst to get me there. You know, that was my world, they were my everything, and I needed to show up for them. So it put me in that space of finding ways. And at the time it happened, I was actually involved in a meditation center. So I think having that support as well of those people around me there that held me energetically to continue on was a really pivotal thing too. So actually finding support, you know, look for people that can support you. My mum was one of those, but unfortunately I lost her a year later. So that was just another bang, you know, but you just have to get back up. You know, you can't just, you just can't die, you know, lay down and let it all happen around you. So little things that, yeah, just support, finding the books. And then within that time I needed to support the children. So I was looking for work. Like, they were both, the eldest was in Steiner school education, which is quite a packet at the time. And as a single mum, that wasn't going to be possible. So I needed to find work, and I needed to find work around my children. So happened that it came to me through somebody else, nutrition. A business I could work from home around the children, and it was all about nutrition. So that's where my nutrition background came in. And it really was like a miracle, because it opened up doors and avenues and to people that were of the same mindset, success mindset, that wanted, you know, to have your best interest at heart, and were doing the work on themselves to get to where they want to be. Okay, and I really feel that was a miracle that landed in my lap, because that's what drove the rest of my days and where it took me on that personal development journey. I think when you're open and looking and asking for help, like I was like, what am I going to do? Asking the right questions. Now, please tell me what I can do. Practicing the affirmations that Louise was teaching, and really being held by the people that were there for me. Things come in. It was, you know, everything aligned. Yeah. So even though I was in a really bad place to begin with, that just taking that first step to do the work was pivotal in the way my life turned out, because it truly took me on an incredible journey. You know, the business took me around the world, a single mum with 4 children, in front of having breakfast with Jim Rohn, you know, in Sentosa Island, and things that I pinch myself today going, wow, did that really happen? Like, you know, I had support with, I had nannies and people to help me so I could do these things. And it really taught my children that you can go after everything that you want in life if you truly put in the work, because they were actually brought up with the same mindset. You know, we'd travel an hour and a half to trainings from where we were living to Sydney, and I'd be playing Jim Rohn tapes and Tony Robbins tapes and different tapes that they were getting, you know, into their minds at that young age, which is, I'm, you know, really proud to say that they've grown up to be the most amazing, passionate and successful. I get goosebumps because they're all doing something really amazing in the world and that they're passionate about. So, yeah, that comes from modeling, right? Yeah. Modeling.
Yeah. And I absolutely love what you were saying. It's, you know, one, I want to give my condolences to your mom, and the fact that you did not allow that, you know, you already had one thing and then that on top of that, where that really could have rocked you to the core, but you decided that you're going to continue to give up. And not only that, but you continue to live the legacy of your mom by showing, you know, like showing her, I am going to do something. You believed in me, you were there for me. And so I'm not going to let that go in vain. The other part to that is a lot of people, and I'm just going to give a little mind education here. So people don't understand that when you're stressed and going through things, what we're often taught to do is isolate, right? Go to your room, go by yourself. Unfortunately, what that does is that, and when we're stressed out, the hormone cortisol is built up in our system, in our body. And as women, especially, it goes to your stomach and it stays there, and it's very difficult to lose weight. But the other hormone that is also produced and released is oxytocin. That's that feel-good, huggy drug, the one that is about love. And so surrounding yourself around people that are like-minded, like-hearted, that loves and supports you, helps reduce your cortisol, helps increase your oxytocin, which allows you to be happy, fulfilled, motivated, and get that thrive and that drive, so that way you can actually continue to manifest and go after your dreams and go after your goals. So thank you for sharing all that. That was all the things that was going through my mind, of like how much you actually were an example to your clients by doing the things that you teach them to do, which is what we as coaches should be doing. I mean, you know, or it's important, I should say, that we do that you live and go through what you're going to teach other people, because anyone that tells me that they're a coach and they're not living what they actually are teaching, I question their motive and what they're doing. So
absolutely, authenticity, very, very key. And just on that, yeah, and my mum was the reason, yes, that I was so successful in that business today, because she was only 61 and she had all these issues in her body, right? And I saw the stress of her life. I saw what she'd been going through, and unfortunately it manifested disease in her body that no doctor could diagnose. So, you know, at the age of 61 and dying in the back of an ambulance, that was just like, bang. I am not going to let this happen to anybody else's mother. And that was my reason to, you know, help as many people as I could with that nutrition that I was working with at the time. So, yeah, it pushed me into wanting to help more. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
beautiful that you allowed your mom, legacy to continue to live and use what she went through as a way of healing and helping other people. So
Absolutely.
thank you for
Yeah.
that.
And it is tough, and my condolences to you as well, because it's tough.
I
It
appreciate
takes
that.
years. It actually does take years, and it's how we deal with what's going on more so than anything, right? Like how we, it's not about, it's more that how we deal with the situation rather than living in the situation. It's what we do about it to make it better, make us feel better, how we can use that to help others. And that's so important.
Yeah, and it's so important for our listeners and our viewers that are watching us do video to understand that, as coaches, we are, human, and we're going through things, and we've gone through things, but it just sets us up to be able to be in a place to use the adversity and the things that we went through to really help our other clients, and really finding what works for us. For me, I love knowledge. I am like a knowledge whore, as they call it, right? And when people talk about being, a hoarder, I'm like, well, I hoard knowledge. I love knowledge, but my hoarding is different. I believe in sharing it. Like, I learn things so I can be more effective and provide more skills and tools and strategies to my clients so that they can actually be where they want to be and get there the way they feel comfortable being, not the way I feel comfortable, but the way they feel comfortable. I've often been told, you need to, pick this or pick that, and you need to be specific with that. But my clients are not just one type of, one trick pony client. They need a variety of different modalities to help them get to where they have to go. And it's so great to have a like-minded soul that is the same way. Like, you've got NLP, you got, hypnotherapy, and you have so many other great teachers that you're using and passing on their gifts and their knowledge onto your clients as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And knowledge is, I think knowledge is power. I love, I love that. You're a knowledge whore. I love that. I might use that one.
You can steal it. You can
I
definitely
love
steal
it.
it. Yeah, I mean, I like to learn. I love to hear new things. And for me, for the podcast, and when I've done summits and different things like that, it's great that I'm bringing information to my clients, but I'm also learning things from my speakers as well. And it's just, to me, I love doing this, what I do, because of the fact that it's a reciprocal. I'm giving, but I'm also receiving as well. So it's just great from both ends.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. I was just on that point. I was just thinking that it is so important that for me, I listen to something every single day that's going to feed my mind something really powerful and positive, because there's so much negative out there in the news and and sometimes I'm a bit ignorant because I don't want to really hear it. I know I need to know, but I don't want it to affect me because you're probably the same, bit of an empath, so you do take things on. And so plugging in something every day, to even if it's just listening to some light music, something that's going to bring joy and happiness to your day, it's so important. And or read something, or listen to a podcast, and do those things that are going to make you feel, get those endorphins going, make you feel good. So and a good point that you made is surrounding yourself with the people that make you feel good. Yeah, I feel like so important, and you have to be discerning, all right, because people can be led so easily into and put up with things they don't necessarily need to, and learn the boundaries of if they are in those situations, how they can protect themselves so they're not going to be affected. So yes, surround yourself with loving, caring, beautiful people that want your highest good, your highest interest. And that's something I'm glad you raised that, because that's so important.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you talked about boundaries, because one thing that I've learned, that the more clear I am and the more boundaries that I set, people actually end up operating from their highest good as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Could not agree more.
So,
And yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. It got me thinking about the work that I'm doing as far as powerful and feminine work, and how you'll notice when you enter a room, you know, you see people that light you up. Like they're in their feminine, but they're in their power. Their success doesn't come from, like, a lot of the success comes from a masculine aspect of power, but you can actually be more powerful just being in your feminine without really saying anything. Just the presence that you show up with. And that's all about, it's more like a light glow when you walk into a room, and people are attracted to that, right? So when you're in your success flow and in your feminine flow, just being there, you're attracting people who want to hang around you, want to be with you, like a moth to the light, you know. That's something I teach now too, is because you want to show up as your, you know, powerful self, but not as that, you know, men tend to be like really go aggressive, you know, the hands are going la la la. But being in that presence of your femininity is just more powerful. And people want that. They want to know what your secret is. What is it that you do? Well, I'm just being in my feminine space. And it actually doesn't attract, when you're in that space, it actually repels the negative from you. Yeah. So you find you're just really only having people that are loving and kind, and everything that you are. You're attracting everything that you are in that feminine present state. Yeah. Whew, I love that. It feels so beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. And maybe that's what happens with me, because a lot of times when I do a lot of networking out, not necessarily like just online, but I do a lot of networking at conferences, and I can't even tell you already how many conferences I've been over in the last year. Like pretty much almost every single month I'm going to a live event, going to some conference, and I meet a lot more people that way. And people are like, oh my gosh, I'm just drawn to your energy, and I don't know what it is about you. And I'm like,
Your
I don't know, I'm
feminine
just being
presence.
me, right? Just being myself and just enjoying life and having fun, and just here to meet other people and support them. And I just left a conference recently where it was all about that, entrepreneurs helping other entrepreneurs, so that we can do a higher service for our clients, and not necessarily like how many people's on your list, and what do you know, that kind of thing. It's really about how do we serve and help each other. And that's
Yes.
one of the things that you've never heard me say, well, how many people is on your list before we actually have you on my podcast? You know, and unfortunately, I've had people that do that, and they end up doing themselves a disservice because they don't know the gifts that a person has. Your list doesn't necessarily mean you're really good or have a good, you know, that you're successful or anything else like that. So I think it's definitely something that's a problem. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So do you have any other ways strategies that you feel that people can use in order to be in that success mindset, so that they can definitely flow where they want to go?
Flow where they want to go. Well, I think the most empowering one was the one I just talked about, is learning to be coming from your feminine place. Okay. And it is a practice, because we're so used to coming from this other place out there, go. But, you know, really resting in your own, this is primarily for women. And I think, and men have that place as well. They have, you know, what they call the holler, is it? The holler. Men have that, you know, space in the belly, and that's what drives them. But women can really rest in this place and use it for their own, you know, success and their own power, so they can attract everything that they want in their life without having to do as much, right? And being back in your body, just being in your body, feeling your legs, grounding yourself. Imagine, for me, I teach this by imagining tree roots from my feet going into the earth, And it's actually reconnecting myself to the earth, but also to myself, to my inner being. And then resting in the womb space, which is in the belly, and feeling that heart opening, and just resting in the back of the mind, instead of being here all the time, taking it back and practicing that. I mean, I talked about the morning routine, which I think is very important, but to practice being in your feminine is quite powerful, and something I'm really passionate about teaching women in particular. So yeah, that would be the next level, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. And do you have a recommendation, like, to tie it up, like to end their day? Is there a particular routine, like they start their morning off with so many different strategies that you share that is beautiful, because it allows them to pick the one that resonates and works for them. Some people journal, some people do visualization like I do, set intentions, do grounding work, meditation. There's a variety of different things that people do in the morning to prepare themselves. What do you recommend they do before they go to bed to do that wind down period to get them, ready to go to sleep?
Yeah, definitely. I was actually thinking about this morning, and it depends on the person, of course, but also and what you feel. Yeah, what resonates with you. For me, I love to take a shower and just cleanse everything off from the day, just to get. I call it cleanse, cut, sever, that process that I do, just to let it all go. And sometimes I need to stretch. So I'll just get on the floor and do a stretch before I have my shower, just because, as we were talking about earlier, our body holds on to the stress of the day in our body. So it's important to do maybe some movement if you're feeling your body's a bit, uneasy. Do a little stretch, 5-10 minutes, doesn't take long. And if a person's struggling with sleep, they don't sleep real well, then I would and there's been nights, especially through those menopausal years, where everything's changing, and your sleep patterns are a lot different. So I would plug in some meditation, some sleep meditation or music to just get you in that place. Or I burn some oils as well, like just to unwind you from the day. Put on some music. Yeah. My partner likes to watch TV, so it's a bit of a conflict sometimes. So I have to remove myself and, sometimes just find a place where I can just unwind, have a bath. Yeah, that's great. And I love to meditate in the bath. There's something about, and I love the guided meditations. It's just takes me on that out of my body experience. It's so good. So yeah, whatever resonates. But I think it's important to have a wind down routine as well, just to release the days, and even if it's as simple as taking a shower, just to cleanse. Super important.
Yeah, I like that. And I love the fact that you said whatever resonates with them, but you also gave a really good tip for those that, start saying, well, what about if I'm married or have a partner and they're watching TV? How do I find the time? And like you say, you remove yourself. You can find that moment to remove yourself. I'm big into doing wind down, like really setting a wind down period before you get into bed. Some of the other strategies that I also include is, having a soft light and doing what's considered constructive worry for those worry wards, for people who are always in their head. If you can't meditate because you got all this nervous energy, just taking a journal and just are doing brain dumping, writing everything that's popping up down, not sitting there focusing on solving it, but just getting it on a piece of paper. It's like if you go to the grocery store and you're giving a grocery list, you're not sitting in your car going, ooh, milk, eggs, bread, butter. You're not doing that. You're going to go in the store with the list and go shopping, because when you write things down, you're giving yourself permission. You're telling your brain, we don't have to worry about this right now. We can focus on this another time. So I'm just going to do brain dumping. I'm just going to write everything down and make it a lot easier.
Absolutely.
So,
All right.
Joanne, thank you so much. You've given some really good information that I think that our listeners and viewers will be able to really use to help themselves set that intention and get into that success mindset, and so they can flow where they want to go. So how can our listeners and viewers find you? How can they get in contact with you and just, follow you wherever you are?
Sure. Definitely. I just remembered what it was, and it was every day is a new beginning. So when you're washing away the day before, you wake up as if today is the first day of your life. Yeah.
Love
And
that.
live it as your last. So so for me, my website's probably the best. I do have I have a really beautiful Facebook group as well, where it's just for women who want emotional support, which is I can give you the links to all of that. My website, Weight Free Mind. You'll find my 12-week program on there, which is what I take women through as a journey of self-discovery and self-exploration, and use safe processes and effective techniques to, take them through and clear any blocks that may be holding them back, similar to same as what you do, and teach them all these strategies that they can do themselves and regulate. So that's a 12-week program that I am really passionate about. What was the other question?
What is your website address? Weight
Free Mind. Yeah, as in Weight Free Mind. Yeah. So there's a freebie there as well. There's 10 steps to healing. I have up there as a PDF that you can download, and they're just like little reminders, things that can trigger you to do what you need to do for that day. Even if you just choose one or two, or whatever time you have in the moment, but to have it somewhere that you can go, oh yes, I've got to do that as a reminder. So that's a free download if people want to access that there. Probably through the website is the best, or Instagram. Yeah, there's a lot about my story on there lately. I've been sharing lots more deeper stuff about my journey, if people want to read about that. So Joanne Irwin, coach.
Great. And then we'll definitely drop the link to your website, and that'll take directly to the free download, as well as the information about your program, just in case someone is interested and want to join, and all your links that you have, Instagram, and the different ways that they can actually contact you. I really greatly appreciate you sharing and really giving some strategies that's really going to help someone that is making a pivotal shift. They're in the process of really getting back on track, or went through some type of adversity in their life, as you and I both shared, and really figuring out, how do I get back out there? What do I need to do? And so the information that you gave is so great. I greatly appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Decide to Move podcast with Monica M. Bijou. If you are ready to grow personally and professionally in order to take your destined position in the world, then schedule a free clarity call at bit.ly/call with Monica. That's bit.ly/call with Monica, or visit us at decidetomovepodcast.com for all links mentioned today and listen to previous episodes. Also, don't forget to subscribe and rate us on iTunes or your favorite listening platform.